Behind us is the Healthy Home 2010 project. Now, as you can see, it's a gorgeous custom home under construction, but what's more important is the building envelope, and we're going to find out just what that is from Lorene Blissard. It's great to see you, Lorene.
Nice to meet you.
So what is the building envelope?
Essentially, it's the exterior walls of your home, and they're very important because if your walls of your home let in air or let it out, much like this bag, this is pretty much how conventional homes are built today, it has the potential of bringing in pollutants from the outside as well as letting all your energy escape, which is unfortunate. With this home, there were some things that we did that are special, and as this example might show, we tried to prevent that air infiltration, and parts of the technique would be incorporating our roof and our windows and our doors, as well as other elements that I'd like to show you inside.
Okay, so in having a superior building envelope like this one, why is that so important for a homeowner?
Well, most homes consume about, well, homes in general, I should say, consume about 22% of all the energy consumed in this country. And so anything that we can do on the small level can help in the big picture. So our first stop here is the master bath. And a couple of things I wanted to point out directly overhead were these two vents as well as the light fixture. And the reason why this is important is they penetrate that envelope that we talked about earlier, and because they do, we have to make sure that they're properly insulated and caulked. Otherwise, that air infiltration will come in, and as you know, warm air rises, especially warm, moist air, and what would happen if we didn't do that is it would condense on this cold metal, and then the homeowner ends up with a shower over the tub that they never originally intended.
You don't want that, right?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, and then these other holes right here, these other vents?
Right, these vents actually go through, or they're actually ductwork from the mechanical systems, go through the attic. And one of the things that, or strategies that we implemented was making sure that they were insulated. And you can see that pretty much right over here coming out of the mechanical room. And so we won't have that problem where warm, moist air meets with cold metal and then have moisture in the attic as well. So we won't have that problem.
Well, that's great because this is a pretty large space. So I would, think that there would be a lot of moisture here when people are, bathing and things. So.
Absolutely,
okay.
Absolutely. And so we obviously want to make sure that we pay attention to that. And some other things that you can do to help with the envelope is make sure you install the proper exhaust fan because you'd like to get that warm, moist air out as quickly as possible. Otherwise, well, you've seen what happens when, when it builds up. You end up with mold and mildew in your bathroom, and that's definitely something that you don't want in a healthy home.
And Lorene, what is special now about this area here?
Oh, no, don't touch that. How can you do that? Her face is on there. Oh my gosh. Don't you need gloves and a mask to be touching insulation?
Not this particular kind. This is made out of recycled blue jeans, believe it or not.
You're kidding. Like what we're wearing?
I'm not kidding.
Oh my gosh.
I would not be doing this if it was fiberglass, trust me.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That is so cool.
So, and this is something that's a new addition to being a healthy home ingredient.
Well, it's a new technological advancement in insulation in the past few years or so, but it's definitely another alternative to doing fiberglass. But what's really more important is when you're installing any kind of insulation that's in contact with the air barrier, and in this example of this home, we're using plastic. And so that helps prevent this air infiltration from bringing in those unhealthy pollutants, as well as letting your energy conditioned hot or cold air leaking out of the wall.
Right.
And other techniques here in this corner that I can point out, we've caulked the corners and foamed the gaps of all of our windows as well. And the thing I do want to point out about this, though, is once this is all drywalled, you can't change it. I mean, you could, but not at considerable expense. So when you have the opportunity to put in the right insulation or the right air barrier and to caulk all the gaps and cracks, now's the time to do it because you're not going to have an easy time doing it later.
Because it gets really costly if you need to get back in there later.
Well, absolutely,
right,
absolutely.
Right, okay. Lorene, thanks a lot for the tour of the building envelope, but I wanted to ask you before we're done with this section, is there any way that you can build a home possibly too tight?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
And, the saying is build tight, insulate right, but make sure you've got enough air changes because, coupled with the materials that you select, you have the potential of creating an unhealthy home. So making sure you select the right materials and making sure that you have, and in this home we actually have what's called an ERV. It's an energy recovery ventilator. So what's happening is that our conditioned air is going through this unit and the energy is being transferred to the fresh air that comes in. So we're not wasting energy, but we're also making sure that the air continues to be healthy because ultimately it boils down to having a healthy home.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.